Okay, imagine this. You're hurtling through the sky at twice the speed of sound. You've got a torrent of data flooding your senses, and you're making life or death decisions in like a fraction of a second. That's the world of a fighter pilot. And today, we're going to break down the elite mindset that allows them to not just survive, but actually thrive under that kind of extreme pressure.
Does that whole high-pressure environment sound just a little bit familiar? I mean, maybe not the Mach 2 part, but what about the constant stream of emails, notifications, and a never-ending list of decisions demanding your attention? Believe it or not, the chaos of a modern dogfight has a lot more in common with the stress of our daily lives than you'd think.
Well, here's the good news. The principles these pilots use to get clarity and stay in control. They're not some secret, exclusive club for people in flight suits. They're actually a set of mental models and frameworks that anyone, and I mean anyone, including you, can learn and apply to get a serious edge. So, here's our flight plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the foundation, their core ethos. Then we'll get into the critical skill of situational awareness. After that, we'll break down the famous OODA Loop for making decisions, show you exactly how to apply it, and then we'll wrap it all up with a final debrief.
First up, the core ethos. See, before a pilot even thinks about taking action, there's this foundational mindset that governs literally everything they do. This is the bedrock of their excellence. And look, this isn't just about following orders. It's about an internal drive for precision. We're talking about unyielding discipline, meticulous preparation for every possible scenario you can think of, and absolute professionalism, especially when the pressure is on. But the real engine here, the thing that powers their growth, is a relentless focus on continuous improvement. And that commitment to getting better is never clearer than in the post-flight debrief. This is a brutally honest review where every single person checks their ego at the door. The only goal is to find mistakes and figure out how to get better next time. And you know how this works without just crushing morale, because the focus is always on the mission, not the person. It's a culture built on constant, constructive feedback, all for the good of the team. Now, that core ethos builds directly into our next section, mastering situational awareness. This is, you could argue, the single most critical skill a pilot has, this ability to build a deep, intuitive understanding of a super complex and rapidly changing environment.
So officially, situational awareness, or SA, is all about creating a complete mental model of your surroundings. It's not just knowing what's happening right now, it's understanding your own status, your position relative to everything and everyone else, and even predicting what's about to happen next.
So how do you actually build it? Well, it's a three-step process anyone can practice. First, you constantly scan your environment, taking in all the data. Second, you anticipate. You're always running what-if scenarios in your head. And third, you filter. In our world of information overload, this one is huge. Learning to prioritize what's absolutely critical and just tune out the rest of the noise. Okay, all of this brings us right to the centerpiece of the pilot's mental toolkit, the OODA Loop. This is the framework that allows them to process all that situational awareness and turn it into fast, decisive action. This was developed by a brilliant U.S. Air Force colonel named John Boyd. And the OODA Loop is this simple but incredibly powerful four-stage cycle for making effective decisions in any fast-moving, competitive environment. So here's how the loop goes. First, you observe the situation. You gather the raw data. Then you orient. Now, pay close attention here because this is by far the most critical step. This is where you filter everything through your own experience, your biases, your knowledge, to actually make sense of what you're seeing. Your orientation literally shapes your reality. From there, you decide on a plan. And finally, you act. The whole point of this is simple, to get inside your opponent's decision cycle. By cycling through your own OODA Loop faster and more accurately than they do, you can act before they can even react. You seize the initiative and start shaping the situation to your advantage. So, how does all this translate from 40,000 feet to your actual daily life? Let's talk about your everyday co-pilot. This is where we bring these powerful ideas right down to earth. Let's just translate this directly. That enemy threat a pilot faces, for you, that's the unexpected project crisis that lands in your lap on a Friday afternoon. The complex mission briefing they study for hours, that's you planning a critical meeting, trying to anticipate every single question and outcome. The pilot's overwhelming data stream from all their sensors, yeah, that's the flood of emails and notifications in your inbox. And that brutally honest post-flight debrief, that becomes the project review you need to actually learn and get better. See? The challenges are fundamentally the same. It's just the context that's different. So here's an actionable flight plan just for you. Embrace that ethos of lifelong learning. Build discipline into your routines, not just at work, but with your health and your focus too. When you face a tough choice, don't just react. Consciously walk through the OODA Loop. And after a big project or event, do your own personal debrief. Ask what went well, what didn't, and most importantly, why.
All right, let's bring it in for a landing with our final debrief and the key takeaway from all of this.
When you boil it all down, the fighter-pilot mindset isn't really about the jet at all. It's about cultivating a set of mental habits that are completely transferable. Habits of intense focus, rigorous discipline, and decisive action that can make you way more effective in any field you choose.
And that leaves us with one last question, a little challenge for you. Think about the week ahead. What is the one challenge, the one decision, or the one problem you're facing where you can consciously apply the OODA Loop? Observe, orient, decide, and act. Go take control of your cockpit.